Welcome back to Anxiety Slayer. This week, we're going to be sharing a guided tapping session for calming unwanted thoughts to wrap up our month covering that same topic. Unwanted thoughts cause so much stress and anxiety, and we hope that all that we've shared has been helpful for you. But before we begin, I want to share a little introduction about guided tapping sessions and also welcome Ananga.
Hey, Shan.
Guided tapping sessions are an excellent way to help you get familiar with tapping, but it's important to note that your own words are always the best words. As you gain experience with tapping, we recommend you add some extra tapping sessions using your own words to describe your feelings. Listen out for your own thoughts and insights that arise during this tapping session, and you might choose to pause the recording and note them down for your own tapping self-care work. Before we jump right into the tapping session, we do ask that you accept responsibility for your own well-being when tapping along with us. We invite you to visit anxietyslayer.com/EFT if you'd like to have the diagram to use to tap along with us. To get the best results from this tapping session, repeat Ananga's words along with her out loud if you can, or in your mind if you're tapping privately using headphones.
Okay, so tapping on the side of your hand. Either hand, either side, it doesn't matter, but if it's easier to copy me exactly, I'm tapping with my right hand, with the fingertips of my right hand bunched together on the side of my left hand, halfway between the wrist bone and the joint of the little finger. So just right on the side of the hand there on that karate chop point. And take a moment to drop your shoulders. Take a couple of deep breaths while you're tapping on that point. And then we'll just use some general words to address anxious thoughts and calming anxious thoughts. So you repeat after me. I think Shan's going to be our shadow, so it's easy to have somebody to repeat along with. Even though I have this nagging thought.
Even though I have this nagging thought.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
I'm keeping tapping on that point. Even though this thought fills me with anxiety.
Even though this thought fills me with anxiety.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
Even though I worry it might be true.
Even though I worry it might be true.
And I don't know how I'll cope if it is.
And I don't know how I'll cope if it is.
I accept myself.
I accept myself.
And now we'll move on to tapping through the points, starting with the point on the top of the head and working down. And we're just going to use some short phrases to remain tuned in to our focus for this tapping session. So just tapping on the point in the center of the top of the head, this nagging thought.
This nagging thought.
And the beginning of the eyebrow, this awful anxious thought.
This awful anxious thought.
And this side of the eye that feels so true.
That feels so true.
And under the eye and fills me with dread.
And fills me with dread.
Under the nose, all these stories I have around this thought.
All these stories I have around this thought.
Center of the chin, thinking the worst.
Thinking the worst.
Collarbone, fearing the worst.
Fearing the worst.
And under the arm, going over and over in my mind.
Going over and over in my mind.
And we're just going to tap through these same statements again. And this is what we call ugly truth tapping. We're tapping, just saying how we can feel about anxious thoughts. Things will get easier as we go along, but this is just the start of, as if we were talking to a friend, this is what's going on in my head right now. So back up to the top of the head, this nagging thought.
This nagging thought.
Beginning of the eyebrow, this awful anxious thought.
This awful anxious thought.
Side of the eye that feels so true.
That feels so true.
Under the eye and fills me with dread.
And fills me with dread.
Under the nose, all these stories I have around this thought.
All these stories I have around this thought.
The center of the chin, thinking the worst.
Thinking the worst.
Collarbone, fearing the worst.
fearing the worst.
And just stay tapping on that collarbone point for a few more seconds. This is a great point for calming fear. So when we tap here and we say fearing the worst, we know what that means to us. You might find that you start to yawn or sigh a little and feel some energy releasing from your body. Whenever we yawn, we know that the point's releasing something. And then coming down to tap under the arm, these thoughts going over and over in my mind.
These thoughts going over and over in my mind.
Take a deep breath and release it in a long, slow exhalation. Stretch your arms, rub your feet on the ground, feel the surface that's supporting you. Just feel nice and grounded where you are in this moment. And know that right here, right now, in this moment, you're safe. And we'll start tapping through the points again, back to the top of the head. This anxious thought.
This anxious thought.
The beginning of the eyebrow stuck in my mind.
Stuck in my mind.
Outside corner of the eye, making me stressed.
Making me stressed.
Under the eye, making me so tired.
Making me so tired.
Under the nose, this fear that it might come true.
This fear that it might come true.
Center of the chin, it isn't serving me well.
It isn't serving me well.
Collarbone, it's making my anxiety worse.
It's making my anxiety worse.
And under the arm, and I want to change it.
And I want to change it.
And just keep patting there under the arm. It's been open to change. Open to the fact that these thoughts are not helpful to us. Take some deep breaths and feel grounded. Now we'll tap again, and now we're opening to the possibility of changing the thought, using some new words to invite change and invite a new experience in letting the thought lose its power over us and drift by, as we've been talking about in previous episodes this month. Coming up to tapping on the top of the head, I'm open to changing how I feel.
I'm open to changing how I feel.
Beginning of the eyebrow. What if this thought is just a thought?
What if this thought is just a thought?
Outside of the eye. This thought is not a fact.
This thought is not a fact.
Under the eye, I know that fighting it makes it worse.
I know that fighting it makes it worse.
Under the nose, I look for better thoughts.
I look for better thoughts.
Center of the chin, I engage with the truth of this moment.
I engage with the truth of this moment.
Collarbone, I turn to myself with kindness.
I turn to myself with kindness.
And under the arm, I'm open to letting this thought move on.
I am open to letting this thought move on.
Back to the top of the head, I focus on this moment.
I focus on this moment.
Beginning of the eyebrow, I focus on this breath.
I focus on this breath.
The side of the eye, in this moment, I'm okay.
In this moment, I'm okay.
Under the eye, in this moment, I can make choices to support myself.
In this moment, I can make choices to support myself.
Under the nose, I release this thought.
I release this thought.
Center of the chin, I release its story.
I release its story.
Collarbone, I release this anxiety.
I release this anxiety.
Underarm, and I relax my body.
And I relax my body.
Then take a deep breath, stretch, and release again. Feel grounded and safe. And we'll just go through that same set of statements one more time. This is a really good one to take note of. And remember, anytime an anxious thought comes up, if you just go through these points, it will help you settle and release it. Coming up again to the top of the head, I focus on this moment.
I focus on this moment.
Beginning of the eyebrow, I focus on this breath.
I focus on this breath.
Side of the eye, in this moment, I'm okay.
In this moment, I'm okay.
Under the eye, in this moment, I can make choices to support myself.
In this moment, I can make choices to support myself.
Under the nose, I release this thought.
I release this thought.
Center of the chin, I release its story.
I release its story.
Collarbone, I release this anxiety.
I release this anxiety.
And under the arm, I relax my body.
I relax my body.
And then we'll close the tapping session by tapping and breathing through each point, as you've probably done with us if you've followed tapping sessions with us before, just to relax the body and be safe and grounded here and now in this moment, and let that thought blow on by. As we calm our breath, we calm our thoughts. And if we add some tapping in with that, it gives us some extra peace of mind. So just tapping on the top of the head, take a full breath in, big breath in, and release it. And tapping at the beginning of the eyebrow, take a full breath in and release. Long, slow exhalation. Let your shoulders relax. Side of the eye, full breath in and release. Make sure your face is soft and relaxed. Under the eye, full breath in and release. At this point, it's really good for calming a nervous stomach, sending kindness and peace to your stomach. Under the nose, full breath in and release. Under the nose has relevance to our core concept of ourself, our idea of ourselves, a really important point. And the chin point is the same. So tapping on the chin point, full breath in and release, sending yourself peace, sending yourself kindness and compassion. And the collarbone point, full breath in and release. Imagine any anxiety leaving your body like smoke drifting far, far away, releasing any remaining anxiety. And under the arm, full breath in and release, feeling grounded, safe, and present and calm in this moment.
Thank you so much. That was really helpful.
Yeah, sometimes we need a little extra help with the thoughts, and we need something to do to work with them. And I think tapping's a real favorite for me when we have thoughts churning around in our mind. So this is a good practice to do regularly. If you regularly find yourself being overpowered by thoughts, by your mind, by the stories we spin around them, it can be helpful to repeat this session before you go to bed at night for peaceful sleep, to release worries from the day, or any time that we feel hijacked by anxious thoughts, just to feel more peaceful and more calm and present in the moment. And then we can choose to do something else supportive, like get a cup of chamomile tea, take some rescue remedy, read something wonderful, or get on with what we need to do with our day, feeling like we've taken care of ourselves.
You can find all of our guided tapping sessions and guided meditations on our Patreon at patreon.com/anxietyslayer. Thanks for listening.